Hey everybody, Sticky Side down here, and I'm going to be prepping my bike for the track. It's my first one, so I'm gonna have to get it all prepped and ready for the track. And I own a 2015 Triumph Daytona 675. And what I want to do is remove the fuses so I don't have to deal with heating up tape once I put it over the headlights and the tail lights. And I want to make it shut the blinkers off as well. And on the 675 Daytona, this is your fuse panel. It's underneath the seat. So, and on this particular one, your accessories is fuse number 1. See if I can get this out. Yeah, that's not wanting to come out. I may have to get a pair of needle nose pliers. Yep, I'm gonna have to get a pair of needle nose pliers. Here comes Grom Lady right here. She's on video. She must be trying out a bike she's never ridden before. Oh, she's getting on it now. Go, girl. Okay, so here you can see it. This is number 1, number 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. And number 1 is for your accessories, and then number 6 is for headlights. So that's what I want to do. Remove 1 and 6. That way I can then finish up taping the headlights and not have to worry about the tape melting. And I don't have those fancy fuse removal tools, so I'm using a pair of side cutters. Very gently, very lightly squeeze and then pull fuse up. Now we're going to turn the key on and make sure it is doing what it is prescribed to do with removing these fuses, because number 6 is also attached to the starter relay, and we don't want to kill the starter relay, but that's what the manual says. It's attached to the starter relay, so we're gonna see. Well, nope, it is not attached to the starter relay like the owner's manual says, so we're good. So we don't have, see, we have no headlights, no accessory, okay, no tail light. Let's check our blinkers. No blinkers. So we are all set. Now all we have to do is put everything back together and tape everything off, and we are golden on that part. Just don't lose your fuses. You want to keep those safe. Also, let's see what you want to do when prepping is check your brake fluid. You want to between minimum and max, and you want to check your, see, this is where my rear's at, and you can tell I don't use my rear brake as often as I do my front brake, because my front brake fluid, it just got changed a couple thousand miles ago, and it's already starting to darken up. And I've got the plunger is already starting to drop down because I use my front brakes a lot. I'm going to check our front brakes, if you can see it, but the pad is, they are still quite thick, so you want to make sure they are in decent working order, even if it's your first day. Especially if it's your first day, you really want to make sure everything is going to go good for you, and so you don't have to worry about it or be afraid that if you forgot something halfway through the track day or halfway around the track and go, oops, I forgot something. Now you also want to check your tire pressure and tire wear, and depending on what track you go to, they may require you to have 80% tread life and higher on your tires. And so you want to check your tire pressure, but your best bet is to ask the tire guy that is at the track. If they have a tire guy, you want just talk to him. He'll help you out with tire pressures for that track, because he is there for that track. Now me, I'm going to put a brand new set of tires on here, so I'm not going to worry about checking tire pressure or tread life, because I will have a brand new set of Pirelli Diablo Supercorsa, the SP V2s, what comes stock with this bike. That's what's on there now. I'm going to just put a brand new set on. And then you want to check your chain tension for a track day. Now your chain tension, you want it to be between 1 inch to 1.5 inches, but that inch and a half is not static. You want to check that tension when your weight is on there. So you're going to need more than one person to do this, because if it's too tight, what that does is it binds up your suspension and doesn't let your suspension travel like it's supposed to, and it puts all the work on your rear tire, and then your rear tire cannot do the workload that your suspension is going to do, and it can cause you to crash. And if it's too loose on deceleration, when you're downshifting through the gears into a corner, you can actually jump a tooth on your sprocket with your chain because it's too loose, and that can cause some serious issues as well. So you want to check that, but with your body weight on there, and you might as well do it with your full track gear, your helmet, everything, so you have an accurate weight. But you want it to be 1 inch to 1.5 inches of play. And then your suspension, you can wait till you get to the track to dial that in a little bit better based on tire wear. If the tire guy is really good, then he can really help you out and help you dial in your suspension and your settings when you get to the track. I run a zip tie on my bike, so when I brake, it will push the zip tie down to, it'll like give it like 4, 5, 6 days, maybe a week to 2 weeks, and see where it stops to travel, and then you can judge how far travel is. And some forks don't bottom out at the very bottom. It will go down. You can push the forks and bottom clear out to the base, but on this particular bike, that is over bottomed out. Bottom out on this one is probably, without reading all my notes and everything that I have about this particular set of Öhlins, bottom out is probably right about there, which is not, as you can see, it's not all the way. I have bottomed this zip tie all the way down, coming off of a very hard wheelie, so it will travel there. But once it reaches its bottom out, then all the stress goes on the front tire, and that can also cause you to slide the front out in braking into a corner and turning, because you've maximized as far as your suspension travel will go, and it's still wanting to travel more, so it's putting all the weight and pressure on your front tire. So that is another issue that could cause you to lose the front in a corner. So grab a zip tie, put it on there, drive around for a few days, see where it's at. And if it's always up here, then you're not really in, you don't have to worry about bottoming out. But on a daily commute, I can actually put that zip tie almost all the way to the bottom out, just under braking and normal riding for me. So when I go to the track, I'm gonna have to stiffen this front end up quite a bit more, because I will definitely bottom it out on a track, because you obviously get to much greater speeds at the track, and you got to brake much harder than you would your normal daily commute, unless of course someone pulls out in front of you, and then you got to really get into the brakes, and that will definitely push your zip tie down much farther. And you want to, on a general basis, you want to change your fork oil about every 12,000 miles on this particular bike with the Öhlins, and the rear shock about every 8,000. Unfortunately, this shock oil cannot be changed just by taking it in. It has to be sent in, taken off and sent in to have the fork oil changed. So I have not, or the shock oil change, so I have not done that yet. This bike has almost 19,000 miles on it, but the front forks have been serviced. They were serviced at about 15,000 miles, so now I'm 4,000 miles into the new fork oil, which 4 more thousand, I'm pretty much gonna have to change it again. But that is another day. Now I have this set up as a MotoGP shift pattern, which is 1 up and 5 down, which is way more comfortable for me. I've been riding this particular shift pattern for about 6 years now. On my 07 Daytona, I swapped it around to the GP shift pattern. So when I bought this 15, I did the same thing as well, because to me it's much more comfortable. Now on this particular track that I'm going to, they want, I don't know how I'm gonna do it, but they want the kickstand zip tied, and I have nothing to zip tie this kickstand to, so I may end up having to remove it. I don't know yet. Oh, I could, well, there's an open bolt hole here. I can probably zip tie it to that, which actually that will work out quite well with that bolt hole right there, and it won't interfere with the chain, because we do not want that. And they also want your rear pegs either zip tied or removed, and they want the license plate removed as well. So we'll go ahead and take that. So now we are going to, oh, and I have my GoPro zip tied as well. That way if I lose it, it hangs about right here, and it is perfect. And it's about 2 to 3 inches of space between the tire and where the GoPro hangs. That way, with my body weight, it will still have enough clearance where it doesn't hit the tire when I'm going down the track and rip it off. So now we're going to remove the mirrors. Now I don't have block off plates for mine, so let's see. Yeah, okay, so my fairing here moves, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a zip tie through the 2 bolt holes and zip tie it underneath here through the bottom side. That way this fairing and the windshield doesn't have any play whatsoever going down the track, because we don't want that to happen and start causing stress fractures or stress cracks in the fairing. I'm going to remove the other side here as well. Now we are going to go get some tape and start taping up these headlights and the tail light. Now, with my flush mount blinkers, I'll throw some tape over there, but this is a material that is like almost like a velvet material that covers this LED, and it may not tape very well, but we'll see and see how that goes. Oh, and also when you're doing your track day, you also want to check your oil level, make sure that is where it needs to be. You want to check your coolant level. I changed my coolant not too long ago, and I put engine ice in here. Some tracks let you run engine ice, some don't. Now this track, I'm not sure what it allows you to run. I told them I have aftermarket coolant. I do not have the stock coolant, but I'm fairly certain that this track does not allow regular ethylene glycol coolant because it is extremely slippery on the track. So I have engine ice in here, and I think that they do allow, so I don't have to worry about that. Alright, now I bought blue painter's tape. You can tape off your headlights with whatever tape you want, duct tape, black electrical tape, it don't matter. But I use painter's tape. It's the least intrusive, I think, to my headlights, and also it doesn't stick as strongly, so that way I don't, at the end of the day when the sun is really bright and it's been hot out, you know, if you're using duct tape or electrical tape, it's going to leave sticky marks or adhesive all over your headlights, whereas painter's tape, not so much, and it's quite a bit easier to use and a little more friendly. So we're going to take these off now. And there, it's all finished.